7:19 your time. I want to thank Senator Bob Corker for being my special guest today. Very interesting conversation.
And a handsome man.
He is a handsome man. He just needs to stand up when he talks. I'm kidding. He's about 5'8", I suppose. And, you know, but he's a true gentleman. Yeah. And a statesman. And I like the fact that he just tells it like it is. You know, he doesn't beat around the bush or hem-haw around. And I've interviewed him numerous times, and when I ask him a question, if he don't know the answer, he'll just say, well, I don't know, Dan. But if he does know the answer, he'll try to give you a straight answer.
It's nice to have that kind of honesty.
Yeah, it is.
I never get that with my partner, ever.
Nobody, we won't tell anybody that.
You know, he's out today because he's having car trouble.
That's what I heard. I got a text this morning that said, well, Ryan will be there. I've got a problem with my car, and you know, he does have more problems.
He does.
Was it last Friday? He showed up with no shoes. So today he has no car, so he couldn't get here today.
And his problems are my problems as I look at the empty seats.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Of course, Ryan is here. We're talking about Lights, Camera, Cleveland. These guys do our movie critique. I was going to say review, but it's more of a critique, isn't it?
I guess. I like review because it sounds gentler.
Well, it is.
You know, critique sounds pretty mean. But folks can find us at lightscameracleveland.com.
.com, and it's on Facebook. And it's always fun to see what they do and hear what they do. And we're always glad to have them in on Friday. 7:21. But we've got 4 movies to catch up on in the next 9 minutes.
Yeah, it's a big weekend.
You know, I didn't get to go to the movies last weekend because I had to leave, go out of town on some family issues. But I've got a lot of catching up to do. I haven't even seen Planet of the Apes, or whatever they call that.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
I haven't seen Harry Potter.
Have you seen the other 7 Harry Potters?
I've seen several of them, not all 7.
Sure.
But I've seen a few of them, so enough to know the plot.
All right.
So they're going to kill off the bad guy in this one, I understand, or try to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. There's several I haven't seen, but
now you were telling me during the break that you did see Captain America.
I did, and I liked it. And the surprise ending, I won't give it away. Surprise ending, and they had to do it that way because there's another movie coming out.
That's right. It's all a setup for the Avengers.
Yeah, we've been set up, folks. Yeah. But the movie that I'm most interested in seeing this weekend is called The Help.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Glee.
No, Glee. What? I don't get the whole Glee thing.
You know, I don't get the Glee thing either, but Glee is a very popular television show. And if you are either 17 years old and think that, you know, that the kids on it are hot, or if you're 30 years old and believe that children sing their feelings by using 80s cover songs, then this show is for you. And this is it's a 3D concert film. So basically they've taken all of the actors from the TV show, they've put them on a stage somewhere, and they've had them sing, and then they filmed it in 3D because nothing really gets you going quite like the Glee kids coming at you in 3D.
In 3D,
you know? And so needless to say, Rob and I both hate this one.
Yeah, well, I've never watched a full episode of the Glee TV show.
I've tried.
And I can't do it.
I've tried. I've got several friends who are big fans, and I have tried because I thought, you know, 100 million people watching this show can't be wrong. Well, let me tell you, they are. Every one of them is wrong.
You and I are right. They're all wrong. But my first thought was, how can these 30-something people be playing teenagers? It's obvious that they're not teenagers. You know.
Well, most of them are not teenagers. There's a couple that are.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, none of them are.
And it's just the casting troubled me, and I just wasn't into it. I'm not into it, so I probably won't go see Glee.
You know, it's going to do pretty well, like all of those. You know, the Justin Bieber movie did well. The Hannah Montana movie. You know, I mean, it will do all right. But you know, it's not going to be the powerhouse. So
are you giving it a grade or a hate?
No. It's a hate.
It's a hate. Okay.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm assuming the one that you are excited about is The Help, right?
Yes. My granddaughter and I took a little road trip this past weekend, had to drive. There was a death in the family, and we went to the funeral. So she took along her Kindle, which she got for her birthday, which, by the way, was last week ago Tuesday.
Well, happy birthday to her.
Just bringing that up, by the way. Chloe had a birthday.
Did she get the Steve Hartline birthday cake?
Don't think she got that, but I'll mention that to her. She'll be disappointed, Steve. But she had the Help on her Kindle.
Sure.
So while we were driving, if she wasn't driving, she would read her Kindle. And she raved about the Help. That was what was on her Kindle.
Right.
And by the time we got home, she was done. And she said, this is a great, great book. I've got to go see the movie.
Are you going to read it?
I may borrow her Kindle and read the book, but I definitely want to see the movie. What's your take on the movie?
Well, this film is about the 1960s and Jackson, Mississippi, and it's about a young white woman who comes home from college, and she's going to school to be a writer. And when she comes home from college, she becomes friends with the African American help that is hired at her house, and she ends up writing a book about the maids and the help, which is where the title comes from. And she writes a book that gives these minority women in this small community a voice.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a very powerful film.
Yeah.
And it stars Emma Stone, who of course normally does comedy. This is her first venture into. Yeah, she was in Zombieland and she was in Easy A. So comedy's kind of her thing, but it's nice to see her try and do something dramatic. And of course, Viola Davis is one of the head maids, and she is from Law and Order SUV and a couple other TV shows. So she's pretty famous in television. You know, I think that this movie is going to be great in terms of what it is and what it does and what it's trying to say. It's definitely got that period piece film thing going on. It's got you know, a good message about racism and struggling to, you know, for equality and things like that. But, you know, those movies are also all kind of the same. You know, and I hate to belittle the cause, because that's not at all what I'm trying to say. But, you know, at some point, all of those movies sort of are the same. And so I don't know that there's very much new here. Now, I've not read the book. So, you know, Rob gave it a great, because he thinks he's heard great things about the book. And I'm going to just barely give it a hate, but I think it's more based on the fact that
borderline hate.
It's one of those things where I look at it and I go, this is one of those movies that's going to do what it's trying to do very well, and it's just not for me. So,
well, go see it for yourself. It's out this weekend.
That's right, and you should take.
And I intend to go see it. Maybe take my granddaughter to see it. But it's interesting. Set in the '60s. You said it's a period piece set in the '60s, and I understand the concept is that these. Part of the concept is that these, the help broke the code, the unspoken code of silence, and they talked, and of course it ends up in a book. And I guess it can be quite dramatic in some parts of the book, at least. But go see it, and I'll go see it, and I'll let you know the next time if I liked it or not. We've got about 2.5 minutes. What are the other two movies?
So we'll just go quick. The big one I think this weekend is 30 Minutes or Less, which stars Jesse Eisenberg, who is the star of The Social Network. He plays a guy who gets kidnapped by some bad guys. They strap a bunch of bombs to him, and they tell him that he needs to go rob a bank for them.
Oh, yeah, I saw the trailer.
And he needs to do it in a certain amount of time or he'll explode. And it also stars Jesse Eisenberg's character. His best friend is played by Aziz Ansari, who's from Parks and Recreation. And he's very funny. And the two of them end up trying to rob a bank together.
Great or a hate on that one?
You know, Rob and I both are going to say it's great. It just it looks like it's going to be funny.
Okay.
So, and
the last one?
And the last one. Wow, what is the last film?
Crazy Love, is that the one?
No, that was last week.
Okay. I haven't seen that one either.
Wow. Boy, I feel kind of silly. It was The Help, 30 Minutes or Less, Glee, and another movie that obviously is not very memorable.
Made a big impression on you, didn't it, Ryan?
Goodness. Well, you know, this is what happens when Rob's not here.
I know.
You know, I forgot my co-host, and now I've forgotten the fourth
It's all
film.
his fault.
So
he shows up with no shoes last week, no car this week, and so the show just falls apart.
The whole, you know, it's a good thing that Mr. Corker was here first, because it's hard to follow this level of ridiculous insanity and mistakeism.
Well, the point is there are plenty of good movies to go see. And this weekend, of course, some of the movies from last week still. Go see Harry Potter if you haven't seen it. I plan to do that sometime. And
Rise of the Planet of the Apes is still out, and that looks great.
Yeah, and it's really burning up the box office.
That's right. And if you can figure out what the fourth movie is that starts this week, I think you should see it.
Yeah, go see it too. Ryan, thanks a lot. We're out of time. We got to wave bye-bye. It's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.